Hey everyone, another busy week in Washington, D.C. this week. A lot of committee hearings and important votes. We wrapped up on Thursday, so I also had the opportunity to spend time with some great groups back home in the district, including got a chance to go and speak with the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council and Martin County chapter of Vietnam Veterans and some other groups as well. It's always great to be home, great to have the opportunity to chat with people, hear what you're thinking about everything going on in Washington, D.C., good, bad, or indifferent. I always want to hear it. I always tell folks I don't think any of us have time to BS each other. I always appreciate it when people don't BS me, and I try not to BS you all as well. So always thanks for letting me have your comments. In Washington, I want to start by talking a bit about an important hearing on my Water Resources and Environment Subcommittee that was held this week. That's the committee that I'm the vice chair of, and I had the opportunity to question the Army Corps about the work that they're doing with the South Florida Water Management District and the planning process for the southern reservoir that excites pretty much all of us. I talked specifically about SB 10, which as I think most of you know, I've supported for a long time. I've supported this from the beginning. It's a great task that I know many of you have been working on for years. I asked them specifically if we could expedite the studies, if we could get the project done faster. And as you may know, I introduced a bill that we called the Everglades First Act to do exactly that, to expedite the program, and it could make the project come together almost twice as fast if passed. And the Army Corps confirmed that expediting the studies would get us a southern reservoir faster. I'm pushing hard in Washington to get this bill passed every single day. I also, I asked them about something else. I asked them about who they thought should pay for the damage that's caused by them sending water into our community from Lake Okeechobee, that water that creates harmful algal blooms, or in many cases where they're specifically transferring an algal bloom from Lake Okeechobee straight into our coastal waters that's existed in Lake Okeechobee. My bill, the Federal Do No Harm Act, it would hold the federal government responsible for the damage that they cause, so that our local governments and businesses aren't left footing the bill during these disasters. And it's an important one. I look forward to doing a lot more questioning of the Corps of Engineers, all of the other entities that are involved in these processes, from FEMA to the EPA, and speaking to everybody that I can on every possible occasion, because we need to continue this fight every single day. We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to make sure that the right thing is done. We need to make sure that Washington is not allowed to send dirty water into our community from an entirely different body of water and not be held to account for it. And that's what I'm up here doing every single week, and I'm proud of that piece of the work 100%. We also did some work this week in the Foreign Affairs Committee, the subcommittee on terrorism that I sit on. We marked up two important bills, the FTO Passport Revocation Act and the Counterterrorism Screening and Assistance Act. And together, these two bills, they actually strengthen our border security by improving screening procedures to make sure that we aren't letting any terrorist sympathizers into the country. I think that's pretty important. As you know, this is a critical issue for the safety of our country and our community, wherever anybody's community is. It's important for them. I'm committed to doing everything that I can to protect the sovereignty of our nation and the safety of our borders, whether it's at an airport, whether it's at a seaport, whether it's our southern border, our northern border. I'm committed to doing that work that we need to do. We can't allow ourselves to be victim of those that enter illegally. We are a sovereign nation, and it is within the right of every U.S. citizen to be protected by their government. And I always reiterate, it is not the right of any person from any country or any background to come into our country uninvited or illegally. When I was serving in Afghanistan, I saw firsthand how many people there were out there, they wanted to destroy our way of life. I couldn't have seen it more clearly. Over the past decade, my work has been to study and to analyze every act of terror that went on around the world with the numerous agencies that I worked with, to go out there and prevent terrorists and their acts from happening here in our country. That was my work. I've had countless friends who have carbon fiber and robotic body parts just like my own because of what they witnessed in terms of acts of terrorism. And we have to do everything we can to ensure none of those people are able to come into this country and exploit the loose immigration laws that exist here and cause us harm. And I take it incredibly seriously, the work that we can do on that front. On another national security issue, I want to go out there and address a vote that I took, a vote that took place last week, which I did not get to get into our last video last week. I've been on the battlefield, as many of you know, and I have veteran friends who can go out there, serve on the battlefield, become seriously injured. They can't get the hyperbaric oxygen therapy treatment that they need, or they can't get the treatment for their spinal cord injuries that they need, or they can't get the wheelchairs that they need, or for my friends that are still on the battlefield today, they can't get the body armor that they need, or my friends that fly jets, they have outdated, ill-repaired equipment that they shouldn't be flying in. Issues like these are where we should be spending our money when it comes to Department of Defense, not on elective surgeries. And the Department of Defense should not be spending taxpayer dollars on transgender surgeries, which is absolutely an elective surgery. The taxpayer should not be forced into paying for any elective surgery, whether it's a hair transplant for me or anything else. That is not something that is an accountable use of any taxpayer dollars, in my opinion. This week, a number of news stories and political organizations, they inaccurately accused me of supporting spending of our taxpayer dollars on transgender surgeries. Nothing could be further from the truth for me. I made a mistake in this vote. I pushed the wrong button, and I corrected it immediately. It was corrected in the congressional record, which is the only official account of what happened, and it clearly states that I support the National Defense Authorization Act amendment that was introduced by Representative Hartzler to prohibit the Department of Defense from spending money on transgender surgeries. Since these inaccurate news stories began appearing, a number of reports have actually retracted their statements, and they've published new articles correcting the reporting on what my position is. So I appreciate them correcting the record. To be clear, I consider it my responsibility to scrutinize the funds that are allocated to the Department of Defense and to ensure that the military readiness is the top priority. Beyond just the military budget, we have a responsibility to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars across the federal government and eliminate wasteful government spending, such as funding these type of surgeries wherever they're asking the taxpayer to pay for this. Every dollar that we spend in Washington, D.C. here, it's not a dollar that Washington creates. It's a tax dollar that comes off of the work of somebody's hands or the fruits of somebody's labor. It comes from your time away from your family, going out there and doing work, and I take the way that we spend it incredibly seriously, and I will scrutinize every single penny of it, and I will fight to make sure that there is not allowed to be one iota of wasteful spending. It shouldn't exist. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. That's what responsibility looks like to you. On that note, next week, we're going to be taking a look at a lot of spending bills to strengthen the Department of Defense, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and other agencies that deal with our national security. It's critical that we do everything that we can to give the tools to our soldiers and our veterans that they need to keep them and our country safe. And at the same time, we have to go out there and we have to ensure that we're being responsible with tax dollars in the way that I just mentioned. I look forward to diving more into this next week as we get the chance to speak again, as we consider the appropriations for these agencies. Our committees here up in Washington, they've worked tirelessly. Our appropriations committees have worked tirelessly in these past weeks to pass literally all 12 appropriations bills out of every single committee. It's not yet known how they're going to lump these together, whether it's going to be how many individual appropriations bills or what they might call a mini bus where they lump together a couple different appropriations bills, or if the end it's going to be one large appropriation bill. But I do commend the appropriations committees on their work for getting 12 appropriations bills out of every single committee. I know it was a lot of work for them to do that prior to August. Until then, I always want to tell you it is an honor to represent you here in the United States Congress. And I want to add that one of my favorite parts of representing our area is getting to the ground, getting to the different communities, sitting down to talk about the issues. So if you have an HOA or you have a clubhouse or you have a neighborhood or a community and you would like us to come by there and just sit and talk with the folks in your community, let us know. Our schedule is filling up quickly for August when we have a little bit longer of a break. I couldn't tell you, I think we have something like 30 of these type of meetings on the books right now as we speak. Similarly, if some of your neighbors have trouble making it to our offices to get help with whatever issues that they're dealing with, reach out, and we'd be happy to set up mobile office hours to come out to wherever your community is to help with whatever the issues are, from veterans issues to Medicare, Social Security, you name it. Our offices go out there and they do mobile office hours on a regular basis wherever communities reach out and say, hey, could you actually send somebody into our community to sit in our clubhouse or let people come directly to them there so they don't have to travel? It's something that we love to do. If you can think of any other way that would make it more simple for you to access the services that we provide, let us know. We're always trying to grapple with the best way to go out there and provide the best constituent services. So if you have some suggestions in that, I hope you let us know. Until then, I hope you have a great week. I hope to see you on the ground and around town and at all the meetings that we have. Have a good one. Look forward to seeing you around.